All right. Welcome to Between the Two Peers, a live stream show where the hosts invite a guest from around the known world to answer the pressing questions about life, the universe, and everything. This week is sponsored by American Honey. When you need to tell someone to go to hell and want to tell them to thank you for the directions. I'm Duke Thorfinn from the West Kingdom, stepping in for my lovely sassy seamstress. And I'm now going to pass the mic to my co-host, Helga.
Wait, just gonna take that there. It's almost like we tried to practice that. Hi, I'm Helga. I'm a knight, a pelican, and a royal peer from the West Kingdom. Most of you know me by now and have heard that spiel way the fuck too many times. So I'm gonna say tonight that I have the ultimate pupper of cuteness, and anybody can fight me over that statement, like as soon as it's safe with COVID. But you know. So tonight we have our guest is Duke Valharic. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Duke Valharic. I am a knight, a royal peer, clearly, a pelican, and a Laurel. I have lived all over the SCA, making Atlantia, the Midrealm, and Atenveldt my home. I'm just really excited to be here tonight and can't wait to see what kind of questions you've got for me.
Well, you did fill out the form, so we got, we can at least swing some directions that, hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Sure.
You're gonna try double entendre there. Like that should be a drinking point right there. So with that, I'm going to remind everybody of the drinking game. Remember, you can drink along at home. It is an opt-in game, and it doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage. So with that, drink whenever a guest or host uses a non-SCA name when referring to somebody else on the show. Drink when somebody's pet appears on camera. Valharic might be the doom of us. Drink when somebody uses a soapbox or the audience calls us on a soapbox. Drink when somebody mentions spite sprinkles or toe beans. And Valharic, your rule of the evening is?
Well, I've been watching you guys, and I think I'm going to make a rule that whenever you use your hands to drive a point home, you're going to need to drink.
You are the meanest. I'll be like
Thorfinn and I are going to be like, okay, let's sit on these.
Is that too much?
I mean, I'm game.
I may not remember the end of the show, but who cares?
Oh.
I'm into it. I like that rule.
I like that rule too. I'm very afraid of that rule, but I like that rule.
All right.
And I think that would be drinking there.
All right.
Hey, do not eat the knight's belt, you fucker.
Many times I've heard that.
I have a feeling tonight is going to be a lot of we're not using phrasing anymore, and there's the first pet on screen.
See, look at this guy. He's trying to kill us already.
Yeah, with that rule and a pet on screen.
Wait, what are you drinking, though? Let's make this clear. Is that American Honey? All right. Oh, Leffe. Great beer. Nice little Belgian wheat ale.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, Thorfinn, the first question is yours.
All right. Here we go. This is from us to you. How did you find the SCA? Tell us your origin story.
So, when I was in about the third grade, we moved to a new town, and the people down the street were big LARPers, and they had a son my age. I became friends with them. I moved on to join a group called Dagger here and got involved in foam fighting, and I loved it. And then I found out I grew up in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, which is about an hour and 30 minutes from Penzic. And when I was about 15 years old, I heard about Penzic. So that summer I ran away to the war, and I don't think I've ever come home.
Wow. That is so different than I expected. Like a lot of stories about D&D and comic book stores, but
there's tons of those. Don't.
Okay.
Those are just later in life, like you found the SCA and then turned into the geek, that like level of geek.
Well, I grew up in Europe. My dad was in the military, and so like castles and mythology and all of that, fueled everything. So when I saw the people fighting down at the end of the street, I was like, immediately, I got to go do that. And then kind of saw the SCA, and they were fighting in armor and slightly more serious. And I don't know, I always had like a very strong interest in the aesthetic, and that seemed to be there more.
Nice. Are you ready for the next question?
Yeah, I'm good.
This one comes from Antonio. As someone who's lived in multiple kingdoms throughout the known world, how do you see the cultural differences between each area? And how do you adapt yourself to fit in every time you move?
The first thing is there are very, very definite cultural differences, but there is a lot of common factors. And really, I don't try to fit in. I try to be myself, and I try not to be a douchebag. And generally, if you love the SCA and you're not a douchebag and people know they can take you seriously, you fit in. And it's worked for me, at least I think so. I don't know. There's probably posts rolling up right now, douchebag, but
we'll let you know.
I think generally that's a good rule of thumb.
Thorfinn?
Okay, so the next one is going to be, as someone with a trained palate, what is the best feast you ever ate? And what is the best feast item you've ever cooked for an event?
So, best feast item that I've ever cooked for an event, I really didn't cook, I prepared. I was working at a sushi bar in Detroit, and we had a power outage before 12th night.
Oh my God.
I cleaned out the cooler of all the fish, and I took it to the event, and I cut sashimi all day for everyone. So that's probably the coolest.
So awesome.
Yeah, I think we went through 25 pounds of tuna.
Oh. I just had 2 pieces for dinner, and I was stoked.
I know, right? I'm just like, oh, hey. Hi.
I know, right? I got the feels right now. I got all the feels. I'm like, oh, I would love that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but what was the best feast you ever thing you ever ate?
Best feast thing I ever ate. That's a good question. I've had a lot of really great feasts. I've been very fortunate. There was actually a dagger hair feast, which isn't an SCA feast, and they did a suckling pig that they roasted on the spit that was just so good and so perfectly done.
Right on.
So check, we need to get you down to boar's hunt.
Well, yeah,
big on the pig.
Slow cooked pig anytime is awesome, right? I mean, that's game changer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, those are good. Thanks, great answers.
So the next section is one of our newer added sections. It's the choose one with no explanation. All 3 of us will be answering this, and this is just like those typical little icebreaker fun games. Thorfinn, you got the first one?
All right, Penzik or Gulf Wars?
Penzik.
Okay.
Gulf Wars.
I'm gonna go Penzik.
Oh. All right, Coke or Pepsi?
Now, let me tell you, I've never been to Gulf Wars. I was going to go this last year, but then, of course, I got fucked. So my opinion is based off of my experience. Love me some Penzik, though,
Where is that? Okay, Coke or Pepsi?
Fuck Coke.
Wait, was that fuck Coke or Coke?
Coke. Yeah.
I grew up a Pepsi guy, but as they changed recipes and stuff, now that I can get, at least here in California, you get Mexican Coke all the time. I'm Mexican Coke guy. I get Mexican Coke 100% of the time.
All right, Thorfinn?
All right, PJs or your birthday suit?
PJs.
I'm normally birthday suit, but I've got a cat that likes to crawl under the covers recently, and I've had to switch to underwear because he likes to try and nurse things. And so I'm just saying, I'm going to wear britches now.
I like how these are supposed to be giving no explanation, but Thorfinn is just giving the best explanation. So all of us are like,
I fucking gotta tell you why.
I need you to give me the reason why right now.
It's weird to me not to tell you why, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Text message or phone call?
Text.
Text.
Don't call me, text me.
Yeah, I like the non-commitment of a text. And it's really easier to say, oh, I didn't see that text.
Right? Like when I grew up, you could just not be home, right? And you would come back and then your message machine would tell you to call someone. Nowadays, if they call, like no matter where you're at, they can call you. So I'm like, just text. I didn't see that text. So.
Yeah. Thorfinn?
Witches or wizards?
Wizards.
Wizards.
I'm wizards. I love me some wizards.
Yeah, I never seen a van with a witch painted on the side of it. Fuck that.
Like a badass witch, all right, with a guy wrapped around his leg.
That's the best. All right. Piercings or tattoos?
Both.
Yeah, I have both. I'm definitely.
No, you gotta choose one. Piercings or tattoos? You can't say both. You gotta choose one.
Tattoos.
Tattoos.
All right, and with that, we're gonna roll into the bigger questions. Thorfinn, you're the first one.
All right. What is a kingdom culture or tradition from another kingdom that you have brought to your current kingdom, or if you haven't, would like to bring to your current kingdom?
Wow. The thing is I started in the Midrealm and now I'm back in the Midrealm. But I would really like the Midrealm to run their chivalry meetings the way that Atlantia does and have that same candor with each other. I feel like the Midrealm can be a very passive aggressive place, where in Atlantia it's aggressive, and I can deal with that a whole hell of a lot better. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Cool.
So mine is the children's toy box, and I actually got to bring it to the West Kingdom because it happened. I got introduced to the idea when I was queen out in the East Kingdom. I got to run the toy box for the kids, and then got to come right back to the West and be like, "We're doing this." And now it's turned into a thing, and it's a way to bring the kids and get them involved in court. It's a way to honor somebody that's done something cool for the day and or has cardio, because cardio wins crown. And so I think it's a really cool way to stay engaged with our youth. And it's a really cool way to get the youth up with the royals that isn't just like a one-on-one, like you're in the spotlight. Also, it's really, really fascinating to watch the kids understand what's going on and turn into velociraptors and like hunt the person down. So it's one of my favorite traditions. And I'm really happy the West has embraced it, because I think it's a really cool, like, it's one of those things that every time I see it happen, it just brings joy. There's a lot of laughter to it. There's a lot of fun to it. And I think it's a really good SCA like thing.
Right. Let's see. If I was to think of something that from kingdoms I visited that I really wanted to bring into the West Kingdom, it would be something like the Lion of Antir. The concept is that the Lion of Antir is someone who is so intrinsically important to the kingdom that they're elevated individually, and they're very rare. I thought about something like that for the West, like for a long time would be something to recognize, especially since, let's be honest, the West was a lot of the original people started in the West, and to have a way of saying that these people made a massive contribution to what we do as a whole in the society, I think would be something cool. So, that's what I think would be something great to bring in, would be like the Lion of Antir.
My favorite award is my lion from Atenveldt, which is a very similar award.
Yeah, exactly. And, right.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the awards that I have that means the most to me.
We here in the West, we have something that's for warfighting and kind of that thing that is very, very weighted and important, called the Hero of the West, but it doesn't incorporate all of the other aspects of the SCA, and that's its failure, right? Where it does an enormous thing, I think, and is very important, but at the same time, there's a lot more elements to what I'm talking about. And I think that's why something like the Lion of Atenveldt, Lion of Antir, there's one like Walker the Way, I think, is something out in like I think it's Callantyr, maybe, I can't recall, or the Outlands, one of the two. But the same idea is to recognize those people that are like just so important that they have to be just recognized as being special.
Walker of the Way, I believe, is Outlands.
Walker of the Way. Yep. Okay. All right. That's my answer.
Okay. So with that, this one, oh God, I can't pronounce this name.
Bianca?
Yeah. Okay. Like this is, again, it happens show after show after show. It can be a very simple name. I'm going to jack it up every time. As plutonic reigns are still an exception in many kingdoms, how would you encourage a wider acceptance and appreciation of them?
Wow. So my first reign, I reigned with the woman who used to drive me to SCA meetings. She was my best friend in high school's mom, and we would go to SCA meetings together. And when I was looking for a consort, I thought that it would be awesome to ask this woman that so much of her time to me and give her the opportunity. I don't think she had any concept of the fact that I was going to win Crown Tournament that day, or that I even could. But I would say that if you have the ability to win a crown and there's somebody out there that you think would do a fantastic job, be brave enough to ask them and give them that opportunity. And I think that the rewards for that will be far beyond what you're even imagining.
Thorfinn?
I agree. For me, I had a couple of my reigns have been through platonic reigns. My first one, and then one of my crown reigns, and they bring a lot to the table because it doesn't have the expectation of romance and all those things like that. You can work out a very kind of not like, I don't want to say like business like, but also kind of fair expectation of what you're going to get to separate the responsibilities of the reign. But I think they're great. And the thing is, again, I agree with Valharic, is that if the opportunity is out there, and especially if you have the opportunity to do it, like your consort is like, I'm not really feeling it right now, and things like that, this is something you could totally pursue, and should. But I think that it's a good thing, and we should all try and look into maybe finding that person, to reign with, so. But our current king and queen, great example.
So I think we're going to see this happen more and more as gender norms are broken down, actually, because the gender norms spoke to the idea that our couple, our reigning royalty was always a couple. And that tends to fall within the gender normative BS that many of us have been taught. And so I think that over the next 5 to 10 years, we're actually going to see more plutonic reigns happen because everybody drank.
Oh, Edison.
Age, man. It's rigged.
Oh, such a good doggo. I should have messaged you for likes for treat photos. But I think that as we see those gender norms break down, we're going to see more acceptance of it, because we're not going to assume that just because it's a man and a woman, they're fucking. Which is where I think this comes from. Also, I'm going to speak, instead of the fighter side, I'm going to speak to the consort side of this, because both of you guys spoke as the fighter, is that Hans is a much more accomplished fighter than I am. And after 2 reigns with him, I love him to death. And I was like, I don't ever want to stop you from reigning. Find somebody you trust, reign with. Because we got together when he was reigning with Ebony. And that was a plutonic relationship. That's very, like, you want to talk about courtly love relationship? That's what it is. They are like the epitome of that idea. They love each other deeply. They will never see each other naked. Like, that's not how that goes. But I think that me as a consort being willing to, when I'm not wanting to reign, to be like, go forth, fly, be free. Like, find somebody you trust, find somebody that we get along with, and do the thing. Go be king. Go be a good king, because you're a good king. And I think that will help develop that culture more. Thorfinn has feelings.
Yeah, no, of course I have feelings all the time. A lot of that, though, is letting go of your own ego and your own fear, right? It's if you're in a position like you are, having someone reign with someone else, it doesn't diminish your experience that you guys reign together, and things like that. And that's a lot of people, I think they're afraid to experience. They're afraid to put themselves out there where they're not the important person in the rain with their, like, if your consort was to go off and rain with someone else, you know what I mean? And I think that if we can just set that down, because that's not really what we're talking about, then I think that it can be very successful. And I think you're right.
I think that also goes for fighters with their consorts too. So if a fighter doesn't want to enter crown, you trusting somebody else enough to fight for Sassy, if she chose to do that, would be a huge thing, because that's like, that whole relationship is built on trust, and that we know those relationships will survive that experience. Also, I would like to update the rule, Valharic. Anytime Thorfinn snatches his glasses off his face to give an answer, I think that should also be a drinking rule. And as somebody already just called me on hands, so you're drinks.
Oh shit.
You're terrible with your hands. I picked the role to target.
You've seen me talk how many times?
Can we get like someone to give it like a authoritative how many I owe now? Because I just realized I was totally not. I just did it just now. Okay.
So I'll drink with and then we go to the next question.
Okay. Now, I'm just keeping them on. This one comes from Logan Pathwarden. Do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome? Do you have any tips or tricks for dealing with that?
I need some clarification on that question.
I did too, and so I think Helga's going to give you a quick description that she gave me.
So imposter syndrome, and this is going to be something that I'll probably say you guys are going to have to like harken back to like AS rocks were almost soft, since you guys have been knights for a while. Is that when you're going through like transition and you're standing around with a bunch of dukes and everything else like that, and you're like, why the fuck am I standing here? Like, why is this person talking to me? That's imposter syndrome. Is that not feeling like you belong in the group that you're in, or that you are a fraud for being there? It's basically your brain saying you don't belong.
Oh, I feel like whatever group I'm in, I belong, because it's the group I'm in. If I don't belong there, I go away. I'm really comfortable in my skin and in just about any situation. And if I'm making someone else feel awkward by being there, that makes it even more fun for me. So I guess, no, I have no advice for you.
Well, that was helpful.
Yeah, thanks. I'm sorry.
At least I would love to be like that. So I'm sitting on my hands for this. So this is now awkward because I'm like, so I am probably the opposite of you on that. Is I almost feel like I never belong. And so what I'm gonna say is how I deal with like a very severe case of imposter syndrome all the time is that I have cranked up my level in faith of those that are around me. Faith is actually one of my favorite virtues because it falls into trust. And so when I'm hanging out with Thorfinn, especially like the first couple times I hung out with Thorfinn, I'm like, oh my God, he's talking to me like a real fucking human being. It took me a minute to realize that he was inviting me into his space. And if people didn't want me there, they're going to find a polite excuse to leave. And I'm good enough at reading body language that I can be like, oh, that person would like to exit the conversation right now. Huh, cool. Peace fuck out. And so where I'm constantly fighting the idea that I don't belong, that I'm not good enough, that I shouldn't be hanging out with these people, that I'm not one of the cool kids, blah, 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 jerk, emotional jerk, that I sell all those lies to myself constantly. I trust those around me to say I belong, because I myself will probably never believe that, but they do for me. And so that's actually, I lean on my friends on that a lot. And occasionally I'll even like check in with my friends and be like, hey, I'm kind of feeling a little awkward right now. And they're like, shut up, you're doing fine. And so that helps me a lot. And so I've developed those friendships. I mean, I've even done that with Thorfinn, where I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing in the commander's meeting? And he's like, I would like to note that you're in charge of the entire army. That's what you're doing in the fucking commander's meeting. So let's go. And so that's what I would say is trust the people around you, develop those friendships, and use them as pillars, and they will support you and you will just rock it. Also, I think that counts as a drink for me talking with my hands because I couldn't keep them under my butt.
I'm screwed.
I will put. I was about to say I was about to bet 10 coins that Thorfinn takes his glasses off for this one.
Probably. Okay, so when I was pretty young in the SCA, I remember like standing around with these guys that were like kind of heroes to me, and I would be like, someone would start to talk and be like, "Shh, like Duke Christian's talking now, dude," right? And but then over time, I realized that suddenly people were saying, "Shh, Thorfinn's talking now," right? And it was a weird kind of natural progression through my career as I became more, I don't know, a member of the group, but also like my fighting had like achieved certain levels of status and things like that. That it was funny to watch because I remember the first time I heard that happen. Like where I was suddenly the Duke Christian in the story, and I was looking over at a kid who was telling some guy to be quiet because Duke Thorfinn was talking, right? And I was like, whoa, that is weird. But what had happened was I needed to then, so I'm doing a hand thing. Let me, 1 second. I needed to have a authentic self-evaluation about where I was in the group, right? And I had to step back and say like, hey, of course it sounds like it's egotistical to say that you're where you're at, but some point you actually have to say, this is actually where I'm at, right? And I had assumed the position of some of those people. As they faded out of the SCA, I had taken that spot. And so how to deal with that is to just, as you move forward through your career and your friendships and your connectivity to the club, be honest with yourself about self-evaluation and where you're at. And that's how I think that you can, first off, not be surprised when you get there, right? But when you get there, it's okay because you've earned this position, right? You've kind of grown into it. And so I think that's kind of where I'm coming from with that story is that if you're trying to be part of the group, you will eventually grow into a position that you were definitely not when you started, right? And so that's okay. And that's let it happen. And someone is literally like filling my space now. And that's okay too. Okay, so that's my answer on that one. I call on Helga.
Good answer.
I call on you, Helga.
So I totally forgot a part of Imposter Syndrome, and it's the like fake it till you like you just brought it up. It's the fake it till you make it, but the first part of that is like, oh my god, I faked my way into being here, and now I don't know what to do. And that's like a huge part of Imposter Syndrome, and that's definitely like one of those bridging things that you see like a lot of brand new peers go through, where they're just like, I'm a liar, I am a fraud. What am I doing here? The first time I led the Western Army, that was my entire day.
So
entire day where I was just like, I'm gonna screw this up so bad. Like, why did they put me in charge of this? And so I'll tell you, keep faking it, because either you're going to succeed and you're there for a reason and your brain is lying to you, or you have faked out an entire kingdom of people. So keep faking them the fuck out.
Right, that's impressive in itself.
Like, there, finger guns for that one. This show is gonna. There's gonna be. Are we ready for the next question?
Yeah. Are we? Everybody?
I'm gonna take my sip. Yeah.
Okay.
This one comes from Thorfinn.
Oh, I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, I've never heard of him. I think he's an imposter.
Yes.
What is your strongest virtue, and what is your strongest vice?
Oh wow. Probably my strongest virtue is really honesty. I feel like there's no value in being false in anything that you say or do. Probably my biggest vice is that I'm definitely prone to mischief, and if left to my own devices, I can be a dangerous force of nature when it comes to that. And sometimes I don't realize that not everybody might be having as much fun as I am. And then sometimes I realize it and I don't care.
Oh, well, brutal honesty, right?
Thorfinn?
Oh, it's me again already. Okay, so I guess of the knightly virtues, if I had to pick one, I think that my strongest would probably have to be prowess. I think I like to tell myself I'm a very good warfighter, and which means probably suffer from pride pretty hard. And so the virtues the sins that I've suffered from in my youth, definitely lust was a thing all the time. I would have to say like things like pride when I was younger too was really bad. As I've gotten older, it's more sloth now. So those type of things. That's probably the one that is most currently affects my world. But yeah, those are the ones. I mean, I like to dip into all of the sins, but that's the one that definitely is my nemesis now.
I'm going to say that my virtue and my sin are actually a really bad combination. So I think my best virtue is faith, because I will. Faith leads into mine's not like in a book or in anything else like that. It's in what a person presents to me. So what you are to me is what you are. I have faith that you are this individual until you fail me in it. And this is where it goes to my besetting sin is wrath. So to have my besetting sin backed by faith is really, really bad and dangerous. I am a burn you to the fucking ground individual. Also, I have no problem getting in a fist fight. And so because I am like Avec has a really cool way of like categorizing all the knights. It is into 4 categories, and I fall into the faith knight, which means that I believe in the virtues, I believe in the path, but it's my own kind of take on it. It's very chaotic neutral, by the way, very, very chaotic. Like, whew. But in that process, when somebody fails me in that, when I feel that they're on the path, it means that I become a dangerous individual about them. And so that's something that I always try to mitigate. And I always try to like watch out for is like, am I starting to lose my temper? Gonna go remove myself now. And it's taken a lot of work to not just have wrath be my like automatic reaction when I'm just like, you've crossed the line. Now I'm gonna make you bleed for it. So yeah, there's my 2, faith and wrath. All right, Thorfinn, you ready for the next one?
Yep. Okay, this one comes from Patrona. What have you seen as the most successful way to help newer folks feel a part of the group and to find a niche in the SCA?
Oh, wow. This is a big thing is I try to talk to the person who looks like they're having the least amount of fun or is the most uncomfortable. And I just talk to them like they're a regular person. And I walk up to them and I'm like, hey, I think part of what people need to realize is your job as a peer is to kind of be like Vicky from the Love Boat and to show everybody all of the wonderful things that are happening on the ship and help them find the thing that they're going to like and be excited about it. And even if it's not your favorite thing, you need to muster enough enthusiasm that you help that person feel comfortable and get the information and facilitate them to be able to enjoy the SCA, because there is really something for everybody. And as peers, we should know what those things are and who to show those people to so that they can grow in that interest and be productive as members in the society and really enjoy all of the things that we've all been enjoying for years.
Nice. I'm not sure I could really add to that besides I would like to so I'm going to pick a little part of that and I'm going to take it because I think you rounded that out real well. Be a facilitator. Their thing may not be your thing, so help them find the thing, like find the person that is their thing. We are a giant group of a bunch of people that are hyper obsessive about our part of the SCA. And so take the time to facilitate them meeting their subgroup within the SCA. And that's how we keep newcomers. That kindness will go a long way. giving them that 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your time and your knowledge, especially the more you're known in the SCA, the more connections you have, use those. Don't brush off the new person that's awkwardly standing there that doesn't, isn't quite sure what's going on. Give them your time, because they're going to remember you when you may never remember them later on. You will impact their path because you have the ability to get them where they need to go. When they don't, because they're out there and they're just overwhelmed, and you're like, oh, you're into weaving? Pew, I got a person for you. Hang on, like, I'm not into weaving. I can't even geek out about that with you, but I will get you to somebody that will talk your ear off about it. And doing that is huge. And so I would say know your connections, because then you can give your connections to the next generation.
Yeah, totally.
I like how Thorfinn's taking notes.
Okay, so I do this all the time, man. I take notes on these things because I got to remember what I want to say, right? Because I get so wrapped up in what you guys are saying and being fascinated by what you guys are talking about, I lose track of my stuff. So my thing is that I think that what's important to do, besides all the things that you guys just said, is to provide like a safe landing spot for new people to feel comfortable in. That means like allow them to come into your camp and things like that. And this is, I mean, there is caveats. They gotta obviously be a good guest, right? You don't, but as long as they're a good guest, you should be welcoming to new people to give them a spot where they can launch from, right? So having a safe place for them to feel that they can put their stuff down, they can go and wander around. You can direct them a little bit if they ask you for advice, like you guys said. Find them that person who's into the whatever they're into, but having a place that they feel that they can come to as kind of a safe spot. And don't be judgmental dickhead, right? I mean, if they're in jeans and a basic T-tunic or a whatever Renaissance fair outfit with a, motorcycle boots and a pair of blue jeans, don't judge them on that, because we all started that way too, right? And so let's not forget where these people are coming from and that they're just trying to be part of the group, right? So if we allow them to have that, man, that is an enormous gift. And like you said, it will change their experience for years to come. And then in the future, they'll probably do it for someone else. So it's a pay it forward idea. Like someone did it for us. Let's continue to pay that forward. I owe a debt to the SCA that I can never repay. And so I feel that this deficit, I got to be nice to people. I got to do these things. I got to pay that debt back. Yeah. So go ahead.
So my addition with that is be supportive of new garb.
Absolutely. Right.
Like, don't be down on somebody because of their garb. That's actually in the West. I think that's where we lose a lot of people because they don't feel that they're up to this standard. Like they don't feel like they're up to here, so they can't play. Like totally jeans and a T-tunic, cool, great. Like come hang out, no fucks. So with that, I'm going to remind our audience that tonight. Oh, sorry, Thorfinn.
Yeah. I was going to say, okay, so Valharic started in a group that has a very low entrance level. DAG is pretty low. I read their manual, and honestly, if you want to be a fighter, because they don't really kind of have off the field.
No.
That you have to be in the minimum scrub pants, which are like $6 at a retail store, and then that's it. You don't even have to wear a shirt. So we're talking like $10. You've got a costume, right? The SCA. If we forget that that's where we all started too, in like broadcloth T-tunics and that stuff. These people are like, well, why would I come to your group, right? So we need to remember that like we can have this cross-pollination between all of these groups, and we should, right? But if we become like, well, like you said, like I'm the example, I'm not the fucking example. Like I've been doing this for 30 years. I have spent 30 years building a pretty good Viking outfit, right? And I mean, honestly, I don't expect new guy to have that. I'm not going to judge them for that. As a group, we should stop doing that. Stop being like judgy about that stupid shit. It's only been in the last 20 years when the internet, where anyone could just order stuff from wherever they want, right? That this was a thing. Now everyone's expected to have fucking medieval shoes. When I started, there was one guy on site that had medieval shoes. We would all over the course of the day go look at his medieval shoes. And it's Jeffrey Matthias. Jeffrey Matthias had the only fucking medieval shoes on site. Everyone else is in motorcycle boots or moccasins or some shit like that, right? So we need to fucking stop thinking like that. Now that you can just order them in your size, like off like Zappos, that it's bonkers. Stop thinking like that. And remember that we're the same nerdy kids. I'm just older now. Right. And so it's okay for those nerdy kids to be nerdy kids.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to call a soapbox on that. Everybody drink.
My first soapbox, guys.
Valharic, do you have any other feels on that one before we move on?
No, I think that we all covered that really good. No. I'm excited. That was awesome.
So before we go to commercial break, what I'm going to say is to our amazing audience, we are blowing through questions tonight. So submit those questions. Get those questions to us. We're planning on running an hour and a half. I will come up with random things to ask. We're starting digging through our really weird question list because we have like a weird section. And so submit those questions. Our guest wants to talk about virtues. What else would you like to talk about tonight? Let's give our audience some key points to bounce off of.
We can talk about virtues, we can talk about fighting, we can talk about the arts, we can talk about service, we can talk about anything that you want. I'm here for you guys. So just ask. I'll tell you. I'll even tell you things you don't want to know.
Also, I would like to note that he scored pretty high on the test for rated R questions, so throw those in. I like how he's like, I regret saying that now.
I just had to do this though.
I like the slow glasses removed. That's awesome.
You two drink for that. And so the other thing that I'm going to remind everybody is likes for doggo treats. And if we get over 100 likes on this show, guess what? I'm going to bring my puppy on camera. So with that, shall we roll the commercial?
Hailing from the barony of Skraeling Althing in the Kingdom of Eldermere, Baron Duncan MacLeod specializes in creating items of functional beauty. He currently has a number of hand-carved wooden spoons available in a variety of sizes, shapes, and styles. Each item is lovingly handcrafted by Baron Duncan and are presentable in any SCA or other historic reenactment context. Don't see anything that speaks to you? Baron Duncan can create a custom piece for you. Spoons aren't all that Baron Duncan creates. Did you know that he also makes handmade combs? Almost everybody needs to comb their hair. Do it with a comb you can be proud to show off. Message him on Facebook today.
In a society based on living a dream, we deliver items and goodies that help you on your way. We specialize in some of the more artistic interpretations based on early period crafts, but we still throw in the mystical and unique arts. Much of what we sell is created by us. We sell cool things. If you can't find it, we'll do our best to get it. Besides having some of the coolest stuff around, Wolfblood is a freelance artist who operates a graphic shop that prints t-shirts and embroidery. We may not have what you need, but we have what you want. We specialize in the unique.
Miscellaneous Etc. makes custom machine embroidery and garb. From patches to horse barding, nothing is too large or too small. How about a heraldic mask or banner? Maybe a new cloak or hood? Livery for your entire household? Badges of office? Miscellaneous Etc. can do it all. You can find them on Facebook at MISC-ETS4, that is MISCETC, and the number 4. Miscellaneous Etc., where imagination meets reality.
So we're live again, and I would like to note that Thorfinn has changed real quick. to Miss Sassy. Miss Sassy, do you have a question for our guest?
Yeah. So you are a triple peer, quad peer? What is it?
Quad peer.
Quad peer. Okay. What was the hardest of all of the peerages for you?
I think definitely the pelican.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love art. I love my art. I love to cook. So it's very easy to do what I like, and I love to fight. So it's very easy to do what I like, but I don't always like to do that thing that nobody wants to do, or apply myself in a thing that might not be quite as fun. So it's really overcoming the joy I have in the other peerages to do the things that I need to support all the other people so that they can have the fun that they deserve as well. So sometimes I can be a little bit selfish in that and get lost in my own fun. So the skills it requires to be a pelican are the harder and the ones I had to really focus on to obtain.
Nice.
Cool. Thank you. I am going to go now.
Like a ghost, she just vaporizes.
All right. So with that, we're going to roll right to the next question. This one comes from
Deirdre.
Deirdre? Really? That's how you pronounce that?
Deirdre.
All right, before you ask the question, I need to let Logan, I think he's who asked before. No, this is kind of the first time I've ever actually experienced imposter syndrome. I'm not really sure I need to be here, but I'm having fun. So we're going to fake it till we make it. Okay.
Hey, what? This show has brought you a new experience in life.
Right on.
Yeah, baby steps, man. Baby steps.
So this question comes from Deirdre. What is your advice to a student looking for a teacher? And everybody drink.
Oh my God. How many pets do you have, bro?
Oh, we're not even at half. Advice that I have for a student looking for a teacher is don't look for someone necessarily who is practicing the same art as you. Look for somebody who's walking the same path as you as a person. Look for somebody who you admire and who you can really hang out with and really trust, and build that relationship from them. Let them facilitate, like we talked about earlier, your learning, but they don't necessarily have to be exceptional at the thing you want to learn. Especially, there are peers who have taught me more about being a knight and a Laurel, even now, than I have ever known, who were neither knights nor Laurels. So look, like I said, look for people who talk to your soul. Look for people who you can connect with on that level, and then form a relationship. You're going to get more out of it in the end.
Is it you, Helga?
I asked the question. It's totally you answer first.
Oh, I see how this goes.
I know that you're new to this.
Wait. Oh, I get it now. Okay, cool. I just thought it was random. No, okay. So honestly, I think that like you said, connection is enormous. And so if you're going to look for someone who's going to be a teacher, mentor type of position, you have to be honest what you're looking for first, right? And then look for people that provide like a set of, the criteria that you're looking for. If you want someone to, you definitely want to connect with them. That's important, especially in a mentor-mentee relationship, is that there has to be some kind of personal connection there. But also like shop around, like actually go around and look for, getting a chance to know the people that you're looking at for these roles. And then you're going to find one that you just gravitate towards. And I think that's the one that you want to go with. Allow yourself to find that personal connection within a set of, like I said, criteria. Like I want to do illumination or whatever. And that'll really help you zero in on it. So that's my take.
So my take is find somebody that you are not afraid to be vulnerable with. Because being a student means surrendering power to somebody with more knowledge. And where a student-teacher relationship is by the way, you guys are all drinking because I'm going to talk with my hands all the way through this one. This is Valharic's rule. I would like to note is that a student-teacher relationship, both people should be able to be raw and honest with each other in a way that they can hear. And so finding somebody that both feeds your need to be better, but also is willing to call you on your bullshit in a way that you can hear is very key. And when you're looking for that, one of my tests for anybody that wants to be a student, we're going to get on a plane. We're going to go to some foreign war. We're both going to be tired. We're going to get off that plane, and I'm going to take you to breakfast, lunch, or dinner while we're tired, because I'm going to keep you up that entire flight, and I'm going to see how you treat that wait staff. I'm going to see what you are when you are tired, when you are worn out, and everything else like that. I can guarantee you, do that to your teachers too. That will tell you, no joke, when you put somebody in a position where they're tired and somebody is supposed to be providing them with a gooder service, that's going to tell you something real quick about who they are and what they will do in times of stress. And find somebody that meshes with you like that. Like, find somebody that when they're tired and when they're stressed and when they're worn out, you can still communicate with them. You can still say, hey, fucker, you're being an asshole right now. Do you need ibuprofen, a bottle of water, or some food? And everybody's going to have a different language around that. And really, it's key to understand that as a human being. But also, I understand that my relationships with students are very, very close. They're family to me. So if like my squire or my proteges called me, or even like I've got one very, very unofficial, not official, / official, not my squire. He will never be my squire. But if that dude called me, I would be flying across the country to go bury a body for him. And so that's one of those things that look for what feeds you. Do you want a relationship that is strictly, I am taking your knowledge, I am applying it to the situation. This is a checkbox relationship. Be straightforward with that. Or do you want a relationship that's like that? My students will be my family for the rest of their lives. And when they are peers, they will stand next to me in their own right. I will honor them for the peers that they are and everything else like that. They are still my family. And so you need to understand what you want out of a relationship so you can then tell that person that you're kind of like vetting out to be your teacher what you need and what you want. Do you want somebody that's a lifelong family friend? Or do you want somebody that is like, I need you to download your knowledge and then leave me the fuck alone for the rest of my life? Knowing that is going to be key to vetting people out. Also, it's kind of like speed dating when you're getting to know each other. Speed date for a while. Check out other peers. Make sure to have conversations. Just because you're having a conversation with a peer doesn't mean you must commit to that relationship. And so go check it out. You don't have to settle on the first peer that you talk to. And so understand that, because that's going to make it so you don't feel like you need to commit to the first person you talk to. And that gets you over a little bit of that fear of going and pursuing those relationships. It's kind of like high school dating for a while. So that's my really weird existential, like touchy-feely response to that bullshit. I like how Thorfinn's just like, what the heck? Thorfinn, we're not talking about your high school. Like your high school dating was just
been very different than mine. It was like where I thought, oh, it would be nice to date girls, and that was never a thing. So I didn't find any of those things. You know. Okay.
Oh shit! We need to skip a question. We doubled a couple questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you like to take over my question there from Lash?
Me? Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Okay. So what is your favorite karmic justice moment in the SCA? Either as an instrument or an object of. So you go ahead.
So I think actually, Thorfinn, you might have been here for that. You might have been at my karmic justice moment. Had to do with a drinking game, and there was an individual, there was hospitality being provided, and a really, really good environment. And there was an individual who didn't really know how to appreciate that hospitality. So I invited him to play a drinking game with a group of us. And I made him the focus of the drinking game in a way that was unique and rewarding to everybody else who he had been a poor guest to. And the next morning when I saw him, I saw the full wrath of karmic justice.
That was at Estrella, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was a crazy night, to be honest with you. So I had a great time, and I thought my side was gifted incredible hospitality. I hope but I hope it wasn't me.
No, sir.
So my turn to answer, right?
Well, you asked the question, so it's my turn to answer.
You answer.
So my karmic justice is there's so many. Most of them are outside of the SCA. Amusingly enough, the SCA has been very good to me about like somebody will do something and I'll be like, right, and then move on. So my karmic justice actually comes from I'm pulling from in the SCA of I had a knight speak down to me incredibly, every bad peer impression all rolled into about 45 seconds of conversation. And this was right before we got on our horses for mounted combat, where I proceeded to rip him off his horse.
Nice.
And then I got down off my horse and hoisted him out of the dirt and said, "Not bad for a squire, huh?" And walked away. This dude to this day still does not talk to me at all and has since avoided contact with me, but it was karmic justice just looking at his face as I was like, the arena dirt looks nice. And so it was just like, you're going to shit talk me? 30 seconds later, I'm going to destroy you. So I got to be my own form of karmic justice, and it was... And then they wrote a rule about it.
Nice. I think for me, I'm going to tell a story about someone next to me. It was in an Australia war, and we're all standing around getting ready to do the standard, fight, form the shield wall, the whole thing. And this guy, Sir Geoffrey Scott, who I love, by the way, was talking mad shit about, how he was going to just crush everybody. And then my squire, Advar, started flipping him shit about nah, you're just going to be shot the second the battle starts, this kind of thing like that. And he was like, no, I'm going to do all this activity where I'm going to go and crush guys and all this stuff. And the horn blasts and we all start to move forward. And then literally a ballista bolt comes and we step aside and Geoffrey Scott was right there and he couldn't move back. And it just hits him, bang. So the second the battle started, he was already dead. And it just made me laugh that he was like, I'm gonna do all this stuff, and then he was just pinned against people and couldn't move, and then we just my squire literally predicted what was gonna happen to him, right? And I was just like, we're all like, who saw that coming? But also kind of funny, right? So but yeah, he never has forgiven us for somehow calling down that, as if we could call down that ballista bolt, because if we could, I think I would call down that on him every battle just to be funny. But anyway, that's the one. Instant karmic justice is like blah blah blah. So it was pretty awesome.
I think that's almost the best one out of all of this.
Yeah, I think it's authentically the definition of karmic justice, right?
Just because you didn't have a hand in it.
No, exactly. We were just like, oh, told you, and it's a finger of God just came down and poked him. Which one do we have now, sir?
Oh, so the next one up is I'm going to steal it from you. And then you get to choose a random question. So we've had 16 questions submitted so far. Oh, that's such a good doggo.
All right, Helga, I don't have these. Can you run this part?
Oh yeah, no, I can totally run this part.
Yeah. I don't have that list.
Hit refresh on your outline and they'll all load.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Give me a second.
Okay. So the
Hush your mouth.
Shush, baby ninja. Shush.
You expect me to understand computers?
So the next question comes from Lady K. If you were a drink, what drink would you be?
Oh, wow. I would probably be straight cheap whiskey. I think I'm pretty basic and right to the point, and sometimes the effect of that is like that wince, but then you learn to appreciate it, and that once you really, really want that drunk, it's going to be there for you.
That's awesome.
Thorfinn.
But it's not a sophisticated drunk ever.
It's a get the job done.
It's drunk. A get the job done drunk.
As my knight used to say, it'll get you there, right? So that's all you needed. Hey, he's like, is this good beer? It'll get you there. That's all he did. Right? No, I have to say, if I was a cocktail, I would be a Sazerac, and the reason is it's complex, it's original, it may be the oldest cocktail, arguably, but when done right, it is perfect. And when I'm right, I'm pretty damn good. But when I'm not, I pass, right? So like when I'm not, I'll get you there. So Sazerac is me.
I'm gonna say I'm a shot of tequila with a little bit of salt on the rim and a wedge of lime. But we're gonna go with mid-grade tequila. I'm not the bottom of the barrel. I'm not gonna just get the job done. But something that you're willing to take a couple shots of. Yeah. But somebody's getting in a fight. Somebody's clothes are falling off, and shit's getting a little weird. I'll always remember the lime. I like how Thorfinn's like, oh. Thorfinn, take his glasses off. Everybody drink.
All right,
Thorfinn, since you have not been a part of this before, did you refresh the page and get all the questions that have been submitted?
I tried to go through one, and what I'm doing is I'm going to throw out an easy one, kind of a slow pitch, which is going to be specific to you. What is your favorite Midrealm tradition?
Oh, my favorite Midrealm tradition is probably,
right, I'll take the next one too.
Probably the tradition of the Tournament of Chivalry. The Tournament of Chivalry is a tournament where the knights hold the field and fight, and they divide it into 3 lists. They divide it into a crown list, they divide it into a teaching list, and then they divide it into a beginner list. And the knights fill into the different lists where they feel like they want to,
what role they want to do at that time,
role they want to do, and then the unbelted community gets exactly what they want from the knights, and the knights have the opportunity to see them perform in the way that they want to be seen. It's a really, really great thing. Brownus and Rebecca put that into place, and it's really a fantastic opportunity where there isn't the pressure of a tournament, and there really is a great opportunity to learn and teach.
I've never even heard of that one before, and really cool. Normally, if something Brownhouse said, I would be like, well, I should argue about it. But no, I love that guy. And I think that's a fascinating thing. I kind of wish we did something like that here.
His whole thing was he didn't want unbelts to feel pressured to fight in crown to show that their prowess was at a certain level, or have to be in a high-end tournament to show that they were progressing. And he was tired of knights basically saying, oh, I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy. Yeah. Well, it's your job to know them. Come to this tournament and do your damn job.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think I know I'm totally breaking the rules here, Helga, that I'm just speaking without turns.
Oh, you're fine.
Like that. But I think that having out here in the West, you've been to Western Crown. Mm-hmm. We have like kind of the idea is that everyone in the kingdom should fight in the crown. So they're very large tournaments instead of kind of smaller tournaments. Some kingdoms have very much like a focused, like, if you're not really a contender, please don't enter type thing, or, that type of thing. So it is. So we have I think a much more of an opportunity for the up and coming fighters to be seen in a tournament situation, right? Versus kingdoms where they have like more of a confined entrance to the tournament. And so I think that is but also I think we could really learn from something like that. I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. That's actually kind of the idea around Meet and Beat.
I was about to say the same thing, as I think that what we've done is we've adapted an outside of the crown tournament format for that, which is called Meet and Beat, which is kind of the same thing.
Welcome to Helga being angry and injured.
Right. Which I think is also incredibly awesome thing you did. Okay.
All right, so you said you had a second one chosen, Thorfinn?
Yeah, I did. Let me look at that list again. Oh, it was this one's super okay. We've been kind of edging on serious questions, and here we are. We're going to hit you with a really heavy one. Who is taller, you or Craven?
I'm definitely taller than Craven.
I
tell Matt
photo evidence.
You tell Merrick that he needs to have a life. Seriously, dude.
Okay, I'll text him. I think he angrily texts me about twice a year. So
I miss you. I miss you, Matt.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I did wonder.
Well, I was about to say, so what, you're like a quarter-inch taller?
Are you left-handed too?
Oh, I'm super left-handed. I'm so left-handed, I shouldn't even have a right one.
Do you do the sombrero?
No, I don't.
No. You gotta give him credit.
I can't fight like that, man. That guy's a mutant.
He's a freak, that's for sure.
Oh man, he's my hero though.
I dig him. He's a cool cat. All right, sorry, I'll get off track.
Oh no, hey, we're allowed now to get completely off the rails. This is we blew through all the questions we chose. Like we're allowed to get off the rails here. Like it's all good. Also, you're my co-host. I expected it to go off the rails.
Oh yeah, I'm not a good rules follower.
I mean, and now I've got to figure out the questions that get you to snatch your glasses off your face.
What?
I need to start drawing.
I didn't know Valharic lived in a zoo. Right?
I'm now trying to figure out how I can do a show where my horse can show up, because I think that would just be perfect. Okay, this one comes from Casca.
All right.
How much trouble can Thorfinn get into in one event?
Wow, as much trouble as Thorfinn can get into. I mean, he is like the woodchuck of trouble. That guy is awesome, though. I love him and I miss him so much.
He makes you laugh. Thorfinn's a cool cat. Granny.
All right, Thorfinn, you got your next question chosen?
No, I got to be more proactive, I guess.
Come on. You're acting like this is the first time you've done this.
I know, right? Okay. I'm going to go with this one from Matt Van Hook. What's the craziest thing you've done on Merchant's Row?
Oh, I orchestrated probably, this is another cat.
I was like, I totally drank for the cat coming on screen.
What is that one's name?
So
he doesn't even know their names. There's too many.
I had a kind of chariot wagon fight with boffer weapons down the middle strip of Estrella's Merchant Row.
Oh,
that was pretty epic. I don't know anything else really in Merchants. Crazy.
I'm like, that's pretty good right there.
Yeah, I mean, we had guys pulling us, and we were in the wagons, and there was lots of people who probably weren't having as much fun as us who were getting hit. It was pretty good.
So very gladiatorial. There was side bodies strewn around.
Yep. They were trying to shop.
I'm going to sadly say that I haven't really done anything crazy in Merchant's Row besides max a credit card.
Oh, That's not that crazy, right?
No, that's not that crazy. So Thorfinn, you're gonna have to make up for me on this one.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a weird story. This is, by the way, I had completely forgotten about until we are in this situation. But one year I went to Pennsic and I was trying to see if I could just not pee in a privy like the entire war, right? Because you can walk around in Pennsic, you can pee in the woods and you can do all that stuff, right? So I was doing a lot of that. And then we ended up getting, me and my squire, Advar, were on Merchant's Row, and we'd had several beers. And I was realizing I had to have a piss. And I look over, and there's this fucking guy who is standing next to the privies, but his head is above the privy, right? I mean, it's like the privy top is here, and the guy's head's like up here, right? And I was like, what the fuck, man? Is that guy standing on stilts or something? And then we're tripping out, right? And we're watching because his knees were bending in the right spot when he walked and stuff. So I sent my squire over, who's 6 foot tall, and he's 6 foot tall. He came up to like right here on the guy, right? And he's just trying to be casual, like stand next to the guy. And so we ended up making friends with this guy, and we found out that his name was Magnus in the SCA, and he was one half of the world's tallest twins. And so the reason was he couldn't get into the privy. He was trying to figure out if he could get into that privy. He could only get into handicap privies because his knees were too big. And so that's why with this whole peeing story part came into it. But he was so big, we ended up hanging out with this guy, right? And we're talking to him, and he was like, I've heard that you guys have queens in the West that are over 6 foot tall. And at the time, Uther's sister, Osa, was queen, and she's like 6'2", right? And we were like, we do. And he was like, I would like to meet her, right? Right. So we started hanging out with this guy, and we go all around Pennsic party that night. And there was this one point where I think Setmore Swamp was having their disco party, right? And it was literally like a discotheque, right? You walk in, the silver ball and the whole deal. We walked into the tent. It was like a giant military tent, right? One of those big like MASH tents, And we walk in, and no one gives even a fucking notice, right? They're like, oh, 3 people walked in. And then Magnus comes in, and he does like this. He's like into the tent, right? And he's so big that you can hear like the record stop, and everyone the whole party goes and just stares at him for like probably like 10 seconds, right? And I was like, whoa, I just got a glimpse into what it's like to be this fucking guy, right? And then everyone just immediately, like, after that, they go and just start dancing again, right? Because like, okay, we've seen the giant. He's not a troll or something. He's not gonna tear our arms off. But we fucked around, and we finally ended up at a party. And he saw Osa, and she was like 6 foot tall, or 6'2", and he was just stunned. Like, could you imagine dating women that were only like 2 feet or more shorter? It'd be like dating children, right? And he was just like a real size, like grown-up woman. She had no interest in him, unfortunately. But we took him to the Hell. It was at the Hell Party at Pennsic, and I don't know if you guys ever been to the Hell Party. It was pretty bonkers, but they had like this whole thing where there was a wet t-shirt, kind of a wet chemise thing, where you could throw a thing and it would dump a bucket of water on a lady. And he was so tall that he could just take the buckets and just put them like this, so that he ended up getting a job, and he got to hang out there. And they also had bodice, like where you would put in the cleavage, and you could do a shot out of a lady's cleavage, but he would just pick them up and just drink and then put them back down. Like, I mean, and like you could, but the weird part was, instead of being afraid or weirded out, the girls would just line up. They were all like, I would like to do that, right? And like, I was like,
I can guarantee that dude sees a lot of women.
I mean, I'm not joking. I was like, oh, okay. Also, I'm going to tell you something. When you're 7'6" or whatever he was, things like your ears and your nose and stuff are like a half a foot long. So they do seem kind of weird, right? When you see like an ear that's like, this long, you're like, that's fucking weird. So, but he was just like, I mean, so much giant that he could just pick up ladies and drink and then just set them down and pick up another. And like, they were lining up for it though. I was like stunned. But that was my weird Merchant's Row. The weirdest thing that ever happened to me on Merchant's Row was hanging out with that guy. And he was going to be a fighter, but then I don't know, he kind of fucked up, I think. You'd have to tell me he was out from back east. So, did you ever see him?
I think he camped in Darkyard with us in my camp. Magnus. Yeah. But I don't know. I probably like moved to another kingdom or fell in love and disappeared. So
as humans want to do. So, but yeah, no, I feel you, bro. Anyways, he was a trippy guy, not super nice man, by the way. So I think I filled in 8 minutes there.
I mean, but we got a little bit of Thorfinn vision, so it's approved.
All right, what's our next one?
I had it highlighted, and I think I accidentally deleted it.
Good.
Or somebody did. It's not my cursor on it right now. I would like to note.
I can't do stuff like that.
What is one of the funniest moments that you've had in court? Either witnessed or been a part of?
So I was in court with Darius. He was king of the East and I was king of the Middle, and we were at an event in Atenveldt. And if you've ever had to endure an Atenveldt court, I don't know why their tradition is long and boring, but that is what an Atenveldt court is. And I'm trying to subtly keep Darius awake so that nobody notices that he has fallen asleep in that court.
And he's like built like the Hulk, right?
Right. I felt like the whole time, every time we were together, I felt like it was like professional wrestler and his sleazy manager.
True story. Oh my God. Did you have to poke him?
Oh yeah. It was amazing. And then we were like, what happened? Why did we do this?
My turn? Oh my God. I'm long story guy right now, because I think the funniest thing I ever did in court was I was my first reign as King of the West. I guess we have to drink. I was at a Great Western War, and there was a knighting ceremony, right? They had the Grand Court type of thing. And I really didn't do a lot of stuff in Grand Court because I thought, it should be kind of open for everybody. But they had a knighting ceremony, and it was amazing. It was this guy from Hawaii, and he came in and he had like haka dancers and like conch blowers and hula girls. It was it was ballistic. I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a cool knighting ceremony, right? And he came in and he did like the whole stuff, and he comes up to the crown and he gets dubbed, and he gets the belt, and he gets the spurs, and he gets the chain, and then off he goes, right? And I remember being like, okay, that's weird. That guy didn't get his buffet, right? And I thought to myself, okay, now granted, the Western tradition is different than other traditions. And my queen leans over and she's like, they didn't buffet that guy. And I go, I know, right? She goes, foreigners and their foreign ways, right? And I was just like, oh, I know, right? Well, we'll just let it go, right? And then we're sitting there, and then court goes forward, and then about 20 minutes later, I see this guy that night lurking in the back of court, like he's trying to get the crown's attention, right? And then he's like, hey, Your Majesty, in a moment of calm, he says, I beg a boon. And His Majesty, of course, my newest knight, come forward. And this guy was the King of Kaid, right? As he was talking to. And the guy comes forward and he says, I did not receive my final blow. And I was like, I told you, right? To my queen. I'm like, that was weird, right? Okay, good. We did notice that, right? And the guy comes forward, and this guy gets up, and he's a super nice, the king was a really nice guy, but he was kind of like, I would describe him like kind of like almost like a very erudite kind of a feet snob kind of guy, right? And he goes up to the guy, and the guy says, Your Majesty, I have not received my final blow. And he kneels, and the guy just goes, like, I mean, it's like that. And you could actually hear the crowd go, oh, right? And the guy himself was just like, fuck, really? And I just like couldn't help myself. I just jumped out of my chair and said, I'll buffet you. And the guy goes, yes. I walked up, don't know this guy from Adam. Slap the shit out of it, right? And he looks at me, thank you, Your Majesty. I go, right on. Right. And I just went back to my chair. I was like, I cannot sit here and let this guy have that fucking buffet. Right. I just couldn't do it. And so I just ran over and smacked the crap out of him. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've run into him like 20 times. Almost every time he still thanks me for it. We're talking about like, this is 20 years ago. And he still comes up to me. He's like, hey man, thanks for doing that. And I'm like, weird that I slapped the hell out of you, but also I kind of felt it was my job, right? As a knight to do this. I couldn't have you not receive. So anyway, that was, I think, the funniest thing I ever did in court.
I mean,
I assaulted a person. So
yeah, but you assaulted a person with tradition.
Well, sure. I mean, there's so much good traditions around assault, but
I mean, that's one of the things. So I'm gonna say the funniest thing I ever did in court as queen, and only luckily, only my court members heard, and my king, and maybe the front row, is when you try to squeak out a fart, doesn't work on the Western thrones. Those things are drums. Middle of court, like another announcement going off, and I'm just like, oh, this will be fine. Like, let me just lean over a little bit. Nope. I had my court members dying behind me. I am now trying to keep a straight face because, you're queen and you're listening to an announcement and you should be doing these things, and queens don't fart. Well, queens fart apparently very loudly when they're sitting on a fucking oak throne.
You didn't have the cushion or nothing?
No, it was supposed to be a quick court. We're sitting there. That was just, and now I'm actually blushing on camera. I would like to note to look at right there. There's not enough makeup on to cover that. So with that, Thorfinn, it's your turn for a question.
I thought I did that one.
And the lady of the lake just sent in a question, actually.
Oh, I haven't heard from her in a dog's age.
So the lady of the lake says she misses all of us terribly. And hello to our amazing audience and our guest. And the question that she asked this evening is Spam food? Is any potted meat really food? Would you eat it if you were rich?
Yeah, Spam's food. I mean, go to Hawaii. Seriously. Yeah, Spam's delicious. Potted meat's delicious. It's in the preparation, and maybe the fact that I was in the military for a long time. But Spam's food. If you eat it, it's food.
I'm going to argue partially that I used to think Taco Bell was food, and then I had to actually take that off the edible foods list, because when it became mostly other stuff, I was like, well, that's weird.
Okay, so I would like to know, is that food education or age that took it off the food list for you?
Oh, no. It's them. It's their change in how they did it. They used to be like the easiest and best, like cheap food. Taco Bell was amazing, right? Like they actually cut all their lettuce, cooked their beans, cooked all their meat in-house, right? Once they started having things show up in plastic bags that they heated, and it was like 40% filler, suddenly that's not food. And so I said, nah, they're not food anymore, right? But Spam is definitely fucking food. And I love Spam. I keep at least one can of Spam in my pantry at all times, because you never know. In that morning, you're going to wake up and say, I need Spam and eggs. And that's going to be dope as fuck. Or Spam, or Spam, and Spam, or Spam, cheese and Spam. But you're going to have Spam. I went to this fucking Spam museum, for God's sakes. It's in Austin, Minnesota. And I actually did this. And if you're in Austin, Minnesota, guys, go to the Spam Museum. Really, really good museum. It's so modern and like really thoughtfully designed. It seems like it'd be like, we chop up, ears and assholes and turn it into a can of meat. Instead, it's like a really, really cool kind of modern museum. I highly recommend it. But I say Spam is definitely food.
For a really long time, I thought that corgis was what they used to make Spam. It's just
the little dogs.
Yep. Round off the tail, the head, the legs, and put it right in the can.
Oh, you know what? That could work. Maybe it is. Hey, you know what? Sometimes I don't want to know what food's made from.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna leave it as I have never eaten Spam. So I cannot weigh in on the food thing. However, canned meat beyond tuna is not really food. And for me, that's because that falls back into the poor kid category of like, if it was in a can, that's what they give you at the food place where when you're too poor, you can't fucking buy food. And so I have very odd memories of canned meats.
Why is tuna different? Tuna comes in a can.
I don't know why tuna is different, but tuna is different. Okay, like I don't know. We just got me again, like eating rice, because I wouldn't eat rice for years, like years and years and years. I would almost starve than eat rice. Amusingly enough,
like the cheapest food.
Yeah,
rice is actually almost free. It's so cheap, it's free. Right?
That's how I know. And so like we're now back to the point where I will eat rice, and so I would probably say I will try Spam as a food thing, but it would need to be cooked by somebody that I trust. So like Thorfinn would probably have to prepare it, or somebody else with like the food gene. They can turn anything into magic, and Thorfinn definitely has that gene where he like touches food and it turns into this delightful goodness. He could be like, "This is made from ground roaches," and I'd be like, "I'll try it." So
Valharic's probably a pretty good choice for.
I mean, like, so I think both people on the show are probably a really good choice for me. Being like, I've never tried Spam. I'm willing to try it to see if it's a food source.
You want Spam?
Yeah.
But I would like to know that when
Spam is delicious salty meat. It's
anything is food.
So good. I'm not gonna say like eat Spam every day, but I'm gonna.
But when you want Spam's the thing you want.
I mean, right? I'm pretty sure that it's just like salted gelatinous. Like,
oh no, see now you're
no. That's like if you open a can of Spam and eat it, then you get gelatinous ooze. But you don't open a can of Spam and eat it. You cut it thin and you fry it. Yeah. And you fry it with onions.
Scrape off all the
and eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it's be so good.
This is my skeptical face. I'd still try.
I feel you. You know what? Legit. You should be skeptical about that.
So at some point, Thorfinn will have to do like, I'll have to be like, hey, so we're gonna deal with the Spam thing. So I can now weigh in on this.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're gonna in the future, after COVID, we're gonna have some serious, like, I'm gonna do a whole Spam extravaganza.
Okay, I'm down for this education.
And pate, I'm doing all of it.
I mean, can we get you and
Valharic sculpt a big Spam kitchen? Lamb?
Right.
All right. So, did you choose your next question?
No. Is it always my question? For fuck's sake.
I mean, it's really fun to make you nervous.
I'm not nervous. It just feels like I'm always the one that's picking the question. I like this one. Logan asks, how important is looking good and looking, your chosen persona to you personally? So do you have I guess his question is, how much do you feel looking towards a set persona for armor and clothing and things like that?
I don't really. I mean, at one time I had a very developed persona concept. I think that as long as that you're cohesive, that's cool. You know, if you want to be cohesive Norman one day and cohesive Viking the next day and cohesive, but I think trying to have a cohesive kit is kind of important. It just shows that you're interested and you have a level of commitment to that thing, and you're not, pigeonholed forever. I like to wear, Roman one day and Norman the next, and I probably pretty much float between those two. But I like to also have, part of the fun is collecting all the accoutrements, and putting them on. I mean, none of us are in this hobby because we don't like to play dress up. And if you're saying that is not the case, you're lying to yourself. So that's what I got there.
I like to say, like, we're all doing cosplay here, and like even the entry level person is doing cosplay, and so like if you think cosplay people are weird, you're in the SCA, you're totally lying to yourself, right? I mean, like, I think that for me personally, I agree with you. I think that if you're going to try and do a particular time period, if it's that outfit for the night soft kit or the armor, you should try and do as close as you can and move towards that. It's a goal. These are all stage goals, guys. So when I say this type of thing, I'm not saying like you should not wear it until, but I mean, the idea is you pick an end goal and move towards that end goal. But it's okay because we are the Society of Creative Anachronism. And so when I say that, I mean, like, there's never a chance that my, 10th century Viking persona is ever going to hang out with my friend Steve Green, who's a 15th century knight, right? Because I was dead 500 years before he was born. So my point is, obviously, we're not doing a historical reenactment. So what you need to do is you need to take these things, find the fun, and say, like, I'm going to move at having this type of a thing. End goal being a perfect 15th century kit, end goal being a 10th century kit, right? And just enjoy it. But I'm of the same vein where I have several kits that I've worn. I've throughout my career, and I haven't changed my name or anything like that because, fortunately for me, my name trends across the entire Scandinavian era, so I don't have to worry about that. But I think that's the thing that is fun to do.
For me, I'm totally not about the persona. I'm about like what you're embodying then and now. I'm very Western in this of like, if you're going to be doing something, try to research. Everybody drank. Thorfinn snatched his glasses off. And so I'm very much so about like, what are you doing now? And how can you develop the kit to your best abilities? So we talked earlier about our newcomers and like never shame our newcomers about their garb. And this falls into that category, is doing the idea of what you're going after the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And so like if I'm wearing Germans, I'm wearing all of my German stuff. If I'm doing my Slavic, I'm doing all of my Slavic stuff. If I'm doing my Rus, I'm doing that. And if somebody else is geeking off about that, like we can have a conversation about that. And if it's their persona, like awesome. And again, this falls into that like Western thing is I never developed a persona. There's almost no difference between Helga and Arielle. If anything, Helga made Arielle a better person. Because they're a very integrated thing. It's just different costumes that I wear. One is mundane, one is SCA. And because of that, there is no persona. Like literally you're meeting me and I may pick up different mannerisms, but it's still authentically who I am. I try never to play a character unless I need to for the situation. So like when you're king and queen, you're playing a character because you're in somebody else's play at that moment in time. You're surrendering all of your autonomy to the throne for everybody else's game. And that's a different story. But overall, when you meet me, you meet me. But like when it comes to the garb that I'm wearing, I try to make sure that what I'm wearing is to the best of my ability, and I try to support that in others. So, and if that's like, hey, you don't have leg wraps and I have an extra set of horse wraps, like, here you go. Let me teach you how to put them on. Or like, I have this tunic that no longer fits me. Like, can I give this to you? So really, I think it's about being comfortable in what you're doing, not how awesome you look. Though we all want to be Thorfinn in the end. Yeah.
Not even Thorfinn wants to be Thorfinn in the end. But I'm like, all right.
Hey, is that imposter syndrome there? Are we...
No, that guy knows where he is. So
I see the Kelly Thorfinn imposter syndrome going on.
Yeah, exactly. I think Kelly wears the glasses. I can't tell.
Yeah, so when Thorfinn comes out, the glasses come off because Thorfinn is better than the glasses. Like, huh.
So not true. Although, I need to find.
I would like to know that all the ducal glasses have now come out.
Well, you know what? I mean, here's the thing. When people like made fun of me about having to have reading glasses, like, oh, you're old now. I said, fuck you. I've lived long enough to need reading glasses, asshole. So here's the thing. everyone, by the way, everyone gets reading glasses. It's because of corneal hardening. Your corneas actually harden as you get older, and they do not have the flexibility. So it does not matter what you do. You're going to get reading glasses if you live long enough to earn them. Right. And so unfortunately for me, I'm at the lowest +1, right? But I still need them. And also I don't give a fuck. I'll tell people, yeah, I got reading glasses. So it's one of those things where I'm like,
I'm just gonna be like 2 points to Thorfinn's house for body positivity. Like we're just gonna roll with that. All right, so please tell me your mic was hot for that. Okay, I would like to know that Baby Ninja is sassing us behind the scenes about Thorfinn being blind and kicking some kid's ass.
True story.
So, with that, I'm going to pimp our sister show, Ask the Knights, for a moment. And Logan sent in a question and said, what other internet show would you like to be on, and why is it Ask the Knights?
I would like to be on Ask the Knights because I feel no pressure to answer that question in any other way at all. Golly.
Like, I also would say that I am excellently cool to be on that because I've done it several times. Also, man, I got nothing going on in the evenings, guys. So I'll fucking be on whatever show you want.
Okay. So now that you guys have both been hooked into doing Ask the Knights, are there any other like shows out there that you would like to be on, or that you think are like doing stuff that's like it would be fun to participate in?
I really like the Coach's Corner that Duke Valharic does. I think Sagan's got some awesome insight. That show is really, really interesting. If I count Tristan, I like all those guys. They're super amazing. Duke Sean. They understand things in fighting that I never will. And I mean, I can still do them. I just don't understand them. But that show is really cool. I got to do the sisters interview. That was really cool. I got to do this was really cool. So apparently I don't have a lot going on either, Thorfinn. So
you know what the fuck else we gotta do, right?
Right.
Thorfinn, is there any other internet show you'd like to be on that you aren't already on? Oh, Mr. Official Coach of Coach's Corner, but done Ask the Knights multiple times.
Okay. No, let me say, I would like to really support, of course, this show. I think this show is great. It does a lot for the SCA. It gives people the opportunity to just kind of check in and feel what the SCA is about. And I really think that the two of you, Sassy Seamstress and yourself, and of course your amazing crew of Baby Ninja and Lex's dad, who is what he's putting up right now.
Curious.
I know his name, but I didn't want to put it out there if you didn't want that. I've done a lot for this downtime, and this is a weird time, guys. And so having this connectivity that you provide for people, huge gift. Thank you for letting me be part of that as a guest host. And I think the both of you. I think that if I had to pitch things, I would say definitely check out the sisters interviews, which are what Valharic was talking about. And also SCA Coach's Corner, I think is really good. I found out that my lady listens to SCA Coach's Corner even when on the shows that I'm not on. She just like now listens to it all the time. And she's not even a fighter. She just finds it fascinating. And I'm like, well, that's a really cool thing. I think that there's some really good stuff. There's the show down at Kaid. What is it called? Monday Night in Kaid. What is it called?
Oh, it's Live from Kaid.
Live from Kaid. I've watched a few of those. Anyways, check this stuff out. If also, let's be honest, if you're missing SCA, go on to YouTube and just find SCA stuff out there, guys. There's tons of videos. Other than that, thanks for letting me be part of your amazing experience. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. So thank you for being on, both of you guys. So with that, we're at 1 hour and 40 minutes. So we could go a little bit longer if you guys like, or we could wrap it up and go hang out in the Discord. So what would you guys like?
I have a full gin and tonic. I have nothing to do.
I am in the same boat.
Okay, so this is where we just pepper you with like the weirdest questions we can figure out.
We have done no R-rated questions.
I know we haven't. Nobody submitted an R-rated question.
I thought we picked one.
No, we didn't. We actually the most R-rated we went was the drink one.
Oh, you're right. Okay, fair. That's R-rated.
I mean, it's not really R-rated. Like, we are talking about sticking something in your mouth, like, but. Miss would like to know who your favorite apprentice is.
Well, you know that they definitely are all my apprentices, and that's a real tough question. But
we're not letting you get away with I like all my apprentices equally. You got to name one.
Oh, I hate all of my apprentices equally. No.
This is the fucking Sophie's Choice of apprentices, man. One must die.
I'll tell you that every one of my students was taken for a specific reason, and they're all amazing. But I do have a definite special place in my heart for Miss.
I mean, doesn't everybody?
Yeah, but she's my student, so that makes me cool and her even cooler.
Truth. All right, Thorfinn.
No, I meant that the other way.
What was the question?
I said, have you chosen your next question? There's 26 that have been submitted so far.
It seems to me that every single time I look, it's my question.
It's because we're rapid firing this shit.
Oh, there's more than I thought too.
You're supposed to be on your toes here.
Girl, whatever. All right, here I'm going to do an easy one. Branos asks, what was your vigil like for your knighthood?
Oh, my vigil was amazing.
Also, all three of us have one of these, so I took every challenger from dusk till dawn. I held the gates at the Fort of Pennsic. I fought 500 single combats. I fought 3-on-1s. I boxed. I wrestled. I had a foot race. But you boxed somebody?
Whatever you came up, whatever your challenge was, I met the challenge from dusk till dawn at Pennsic. I had the Tinkers come up and they had me do all kinds of like acrobatic tasks, many things I failed at. I had one individual come up and he had this sack of gold coins and he threw it to me and he said, guess how many coins are in it was a gold dollars. He said, guess how many gold dollars are in the sack. And I guessed, and he removed the balance from my guess and gave me the rest back and told me to buy something befitting my new station, which was super cool. Yeah, I mean, like whatever, game of chance. We were there all night and I got
winning the fucking vigil contest. I had no idea.
Yeah, right.
I was like,
it was epic. I mean, people were showing up just to watch the vigil. Gunther Addis from Atlantia is this giant pig farmer. Like literally, he is a pig farmer, and he was like, "I want to wrestle you, boy," and I was like, "Oh God, please!" And he just literally picked me up and slammed me on the ground and said, all right. And in my vigil book, it has never wrestle a pig farmer.
He's not wrong. I mean, also they have pigs. Your body could just disappear.
Right. But no, it was epic. Branos ran my vigil and his concept was.
Were you squire to Branos?
We were squire brothers, but my knight passed.
Oh, okay.
And for all intents and purposes, Branos is my knight.
He fulfilled that role for you? Understood.
Definitely. But his concept was that because I was an early period hero, I needed to do a
heroic valor. Yeah.
A hero's test. Wow. I mean, and it was epic. And like the vigil had just kind of worn down, and it was about 3:30 in the morning, and all of House Darkmoon showed up to fight me 3-on-1 melees until I was released from my vigil. But yeah, I think the count was about 500 single combats, and then I don't even know how many multiple combats I fought that night, but I know I was fucked the next day.
I was gonna say, man.
But as soon as I was knighted, man, I was ready to go into that battle.
Helga, is it you next?
Yeah, you asked a question. One, I can't live up to that. Holy shit. Oh, yeah, the breaking the tailbone with a donut?
Oh. So, Viscountess Isabella brought these punchkis, these big donuts, these big jelly-filled donuts, and she wanted to have a donut fight. That was her challenge. So we had a donut fight, and she threw a donut at me, and I hurled a donut at her, and the donuts weigh a good pound, and I hit her in the head with probably 75-mile-an-hour fast donut, and I knocked her off her feet, and she fell and broke her tailbone. It was terrible. I felt real bad about it, but I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh my God, that's so ridiculous. It's like, I mean, no, like donut injury is probably not covered by your insurance. But
right. But I mean, she asked for it. She was asking for it.
Oh man, that's a good story.
So, I mean, I can't live up to that because I had a relatively interesting relatively traditional Western vigil of like sequester yourself and all your friends come talk to you and everything else like that. I did by an hour and a half in. So we decided to throw a fucking rowdy party. Everybody that was like, hey, I want to help with your vigil. I'm like, sweet, throw a party. So we started hour and a half in, we start having everybody that's drunk coming into my vigil. And everybody's fucking first thing was like, oh my God, the party is amazing. And I'm like, go get me a fucking drink. Because I couldn't leave the tent. I was in the tent getting it, and then like everybody would come in and tell me like, oh my God, this party's amazing, the food's fucking rocking. We went through 4 kegs, we went through over $1,000 of booze, and it wasn't like, and it was just, and people were bringing stuff too, so we blew that much money. And then people were also bringing bottles because people were like, what can we bring to your vigil? Help supply the bar. I'm pretty sure we killed off the Northern California hemisphere of limes that night with the amount of tequila that was killed. But like, so I got propositioned 4 times in my vigil. We had a scorecard for this. Like, and all of them were knights. So like, that was interesting. But other than that, it was great. So it's actually more the after vigil that is like the part that I still get shit about today. So I had my knight Havek organize the bath. So like sun is coming up over the mountaintops. It's gorgeous. We invited a bunch of the knights to come to the bath to give that final piece of information after I'd stayed up the entire night to do this. And Havek, so it is like 34 degrees out. It is just above freezing. And so Havek single boiled kettles of water. So my bath was warm. So he comes walking out with this tub full of steaming water, and all the knights are looking at me like, you can go fuck yourself. Like, what the hell is this? And so I get my bath, and most of them do not understand thermal dynamics. So now I'm standing in a hot tub of water, and they are pouring the water over the top of me. And so by the time it hits my head, it is now cold. So half of me is freezing, half of me is delightfully warm, which is pretty much the ankles up. And so we get through the bath, and I still get no end of shit to the day about this. I love my knight to death for it. the best part about this, we get through this. I am now freezing cold, just standing there in a white tunic, like, holy mother of God, I want to get out of the warm thing and just be cold now because that'll be easier. And then his lady, Alice, who is the lady of the lake, walks out to me and hands me this giant mug of perfectly made coffee and says, last time you'll have coffee from me as a squire. And hands it to me. I get hate mail to this day about my like bath and the warm cup of coffee afterwards. I was just like, oh, thank you very much. I'm going to go put on dry clothing now. This is great. So everybody should have an Alice in their life to have coffee in the morning after their bath. Thorfinn?
Okay, so my squiring, or vigil anyway, was very much a kind of a kneeling and praying, like penitent squire. And so I had this white tunic, and I was in my tent, and I had like candles, and I had like my belt and that I was going to achieve, and sword and things like that, right? People would come in. I did throw a party. I did pay for a pretty expensive party, not quite as crazy as yours, Helga, but I mean, we had like meat plates out, and I bought like 2 kegs of beer and stuff like that. And I had nothing. I didn't have a drink. I didn't have, a single piece of meat or anything the whole night. Right. And then at dawn, I got up and went to, there was a lake by, and believe it or not, it's actually a lake near a nuclear power plant. So you could see like looming in the distance, the big towers, the nuclear power plant. Right. And probably didn't hurt me. But I went into the lake at dawn, and I scourged myself, which was kind of a thing that was started by a guy named Gareth Crawford, who he's not exactly part of my kind of knight lineage, but he's kind of like adjacent, right? He's like a guy who taught me a lot about being a knight. And he always said when he got knighted, he had this scourging of the flesh, right? And I was like, I don't really understand what you're talking about. I think it sounds crazy. But when I came down to the moment, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I walked in and I dunked myself into the water, which was, again, ice cold. It was, very cold. Anyway, I stood up, and I had my square belt, and I one across each shoulder for each year of my life. And I was 24 at the time when I was knighted. And I didn't really get it until the first smack. Right. I was like, why am I even fucking doing this behavior? And then and it was like this clarity hit for a moment, right? Of like just shedding. I think I thought I was shedding the other part of my life and moving into a new part. And this is like how you did that. And it was cathartic, right? It was one of those moments where this weird behavior, which I would never do all the time, became something that was, I thought, incredibly important for that moment. And I've had, basically all of my squires and my squire brothers have all done it since then. And it's just kind of a thing. It's just like a releasing, I think, of yourself from where you were to where you are now. But that was more than I thought it was going to be. And it was pretty fucking cool when it happened. And afterwards, I went up and had like a kind of a traditional knighting ceremony. But the vigil part was pretty special. I didn't, unfortunately, like I've had like so many friends like tell me like, this girl came in and offered to have sex with me and all these fun things. And I'm like, I don't have any of that stuff. I just like sat there like praying all fucking night to a thing that I didn't believe in, right? I was doing a reenactment,
I like how we went from Valharic, who is like the holy shit. Like we should have done this in reverse. Actually, we should have done like the very pious knighting to like mine, where I got like one-liners thrown at me, and then a warm bath, which was I still think is delightful and proper, mind you. To Valharic, who is just like I threw the fuck down.
Yeah, but also, by the way, badass as fuck.
Yeah,
I mean, I am mad respect, bro.
I need all my squires to take notes.
Like
that shit needs to happen.
The thing is that there was a guy that year that did like a certain amount of fights, and it was a big deal. And I was like, I did that in one night. What are you talking about?
Jeffrey Scott. That's Sir Jeffrey Scott from the West. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. You know. All right. So
Hang on a
what's
second.
our next activity? Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
A puppy.
Look at that ding dong.
Oh, so good. So good. Hey, stop. He's grown so much in a week.
That dog is going to be gigantic.
I know he's only 4 months old too.
Oh, wow.
Like, such a big pupper. Such a big pupper. Oh, yes.
That's Mama's baby right there. Jesus Christ. I can tell.
He is so full of it right now too. Like
yeah, because you're pretty full of him right now.
Yeah, okay, he is kind of the best pupper. He stole my sweatshirt. So with that, we're running right on 2 hours. And so I'm gonna say we ask one more question, we wrap up the show, we go hang out in the Discord.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So this question was submitted, and I think we're gonna end the show on a rated R question. Which would you rather eat off your significant other, bacon or Spam?
Oh. I mean, how
and why?
Do I have to answer? I need time. Somebody can else answer first.
I'm gonna go with bacon. Because one, I know that source, and like Josh is also like, so Spam's like, he's a Jew for bacon, but I'm not sure he's a Jew for Spam.
I mean, you got to pick your battles.
Yeah, like you're picking the battles. Also, like you could like tuck bacon in weird places. I don't know. Like bacon just seems like the answer to go with. Yeah. Spam also feels like it would probably stick to the sheets. Like,
man, okay. First off,
that's much more easy to clean up. Spam feels like if you roll over.
But don't discredit the ability to sculpt Spam into shapes.
Right? You could literally carve it into horses or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. You know, I don't judge. No judgment.
I would like to note I am not sculpting Spam into anything in bed. Hard pass. Like, I've done some weird kinky shit in my life. I'm
going to tell you right now, if you're putting bacon in your bed, you probably already got to move those sheets away.
I like how girlfriend's like, if there's bacon, I also want Spam. We're going for yes both.
And that stuff going on, you're like, these are disposable sheets, right? Like, because you were sure as fuck not getting those stains out. And also, I mean, really, do you want to stick? You said like there was a lot of places you could stick.
I realized that came out of my mouth, and I'm like, there's really no places I can stick bacon.
Like folds and things.
You just put like X marks the spot. You put like 2 pieces over each nipple. You go from there.
Well, how about you forgot a goddamn piece of fucking bacon, right? And then 2 days later you find a piece of bacon. Right? I mean, guys, come on now.
I'm sorry. If you're fucking with food, you're changing the sheets when you're done.
That's my point. I'm like, these are all disposable things. Like at that point, you're like, I might as well get syrup out. Because I mean, bacon is awesome with syrup, right? You know, come on now. Like, let's get big picture. Right?
Like, no, syrup is terrible anyways. Why would you stick that on another human being? I wouldn't even eat that off pancakes.
I know. I'm not sure I even know this person. Like, you're gonna tell me that bacon and syrup isn't delicious together?
No, no, hard pass. You put syrup on bacon, that is fucking blasphemy, and now that bacon is inedible. Done.
Guys, we gotta fight about this. You know what? This is what makes America great.
No, hard pass. You don't put brown sugar on bacon. You don't put syrup on bacon. End of story.
Wait, what? I mean, you literally made my glasses fly off my head. Like, you're gonna tell me right now you can't put stuff on? You can't put candied bacon? Is not like the most amazing thing?
No, it's terrible.
Amazing.
Holy
it's amazing.
Shit, that is like,
wrong.
That is like game-changing mouth shut. Your mouth is like, I love you. Like literally, your mouth will call you. It's probably gonna text you late at night to ask you about that bacon that you gave it.
Nope.
Like.
So like it's pushing the bacon, but if you ever do pork belly with jalapeno jelly is amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
That's fucking good.
And that's the right same flavor profile. It's just got a little heat in it.
I'm trying to remember this pork belly thing that is made in Portugal. It's, God damn it, it's really good.
I'm just all about, like, when you do a pit roasted pig, like, I want the head, because, like, the cheeks are the best part of, like, any fucking.
Oh yeah,
cheeks are good. Cheeks of fish too. You ever eat like
I can just like scoop them out.
Like you know, that stuff is like extra quality. Sushi right there.
Okay, so we should go back to the question. You guys need to answer: are you going to eat bacon or spam off your significant other?
I mean, I'm lazy. I'm going to probably go with bacon.
Bacon's the answer. I mean, everybody's going to go with bacon.
Right. I mean, like if I'm feeling really kinky, maybe spam. Right.
I don't see how that's kinky. That just
it just takes more work, so it makes.
You know what? Honestly, it's whatever she's into.
You're such a gentleman. I love that.
I mean, that is actually the truth right there. I would like to say Valharic just dropped the truth bomb. It's actually whatever they're into.
Right. Because, honestly, I'm going to eat it. Right.
I mean, if they're tied up, it's whatever I'm into. If like they're not, then we're going to have a negotiation.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to text Sarah right now.
You're like, which one am I eating off of you? She's just watching the show. You could ask her.
I think that at this point, there's
I'll tell you, to be 100% honest, I know what the answer is that, and it's neither, motherfucker. Neither.
I think Hans would just be like,
she's just like dot. Is her response. I'm like,
I really think that Hans would just look at me like, what?
Yeah, well, also, yeah. I mean, I don't blame him. Like eating food off people is like a little bit like weird, right?
I don't know. Eating
but also if you're doing
sushi off a naked chick is fucking fantastic.
But you could do spam sushi off of a naked person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe spam's the thing.
I mean, okay, so that's all presentation. Are we like fucking and eating the food, or are you the platter for the food? That is two different things.
Oh man, that's a whole. There's two different questions there.
Yeah, right? Like that's actually like is the person the platter? Because I mean, Hans is a beautiful dude. Like, oh my god, there's a lot I would eat off of him if it's a platter. But if we are fucking and eating food, then that list becomes much shorter.
I gotta fan myself. I got too excited thinking about all that.
I mean, have you seen that ass? It's like two turtles wrestling for dominance wrapped in leather.
Oh my gosh, you
Valharic, your eyebrows there were like.
Okay, so
I would like to note that Tulia said in the comments, I like it a little bit weird. So I'm gonna go with she likes spam.
Okay. I didn't want to be weird about it, but I thought she probably would like spam.
Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. We're getting a little wild. We'll go over to the Discord. We'll hang out in the Discord for a little while and have some fun.
Somebody has to tell me how to do that.
I will help you walk through it. Like we'll actually get you walk through it and everything.
Hey guys, I mad respect, love you guys both. What do we say next, Hoga? What's the rules?
Oh, the rules are I'm going to close the show. You're going to announce the next guest, and then we're going to pimp, hey, there's merch, and there's a Discord channel. And so the next thing is, Valharic, do you have any other shows that you would like to shout out?
No, I got really nothing going on. There's a whole bunch of people out there that I haven't seen in a really, really long time. I miss you all. I think about you all the time. I hope that this pandemic wraps up and I get to hit you all very soon, or visit you, whichever's appropriate, probably both. Thank you for having me tonight. The show is great. What you're doing and what you're bringing to people who desperately need this dose of SCA is a boon, and I can't thank you enough.
Anytime.
And that's it. I'm done talking.
All right, Thorfinn, do you have a shout out? Do you have anything else?
No, I kind of early did it. I'd say definitely check out SCA Coaches Corner and the Sisters interview series. And of course, our sister show, Ask the Knights. I love that guy, and I love to tune in, and I think that's a really cool format. Other than that, everyone out there, be safe and smart, and let's get through this as fast as we can. So,
oh yes. So tonight my shout out is to Saga Saturday, it's run by Kunahild and Ula with Bear that shows up, and they are breaking down sagas. They are talking about period text. They will do it sober. They will do it drunk. They will do it picking a topic. They just recently went over gender in the stories in the sagas, and they are doing an amazing thing. It's a fantastic way to drink your coffee on a Saturday morning and listen to the level of epic geek that is going on there. I highly recommend it. You can follow them on Facebook. They also have a YouTube channel. We will post it on the Discord server. So beyond that, I'm going to say next week, Thorfinn, do you want to announce our guest for next week?
Guys, very excited to have a Shoxy from Ontier, one of my favorite people to interact with on Tier, an incredible Laurel, so much art and she's brought to the society. She is a huge figure, and so we are lucky to have her.
I'm super excited to have her on. Like when she said yes, I was just like, yeah.
I mean, oh my god, yeah, she is like legit as fuck. She's a legit AF.
She is also sassy as fuck.
Also, true story.
Yeah. So with that, I'm going to remind everybody, we've got a Discord channel. If you want to talk to us during the week, we hang out, we bullshit, we talk about the show, we talk about real life, we talk about the SCA. We all share a bunch of stories that are going on. So come hang out in the Discord channel. The link is in the description of the YouTube. Also, we have merch. You want to buy I Touch Tobean sticker? There's one on our merch shop in Redbubble. You want to buy a sticker of Sassy? Guess what? It's there with her favorite show quote. We have Whimsy Weed stickers. We have other things. And we reinvest all the profits. Like we actually have the profit margin knocked down super low on those. But we try to reinvest back into our tech crew, into the people that support this show, because we actually have a huge support network to keep this show going. And so we try to make sure that they are taken care of. So you buying merch helps us spoil them. So please feel free to go shop the merch, hang out with us on Discord, and remember to like and share. We are here because you guys continue to watch us. And so thank you very much. And I cannot wait to see you guys next week. So, and
rock and roll in your hearts.
Have a wonderful evening. And Valharic, thank you so much. You've been amazing.
Thank you.